Hey, and welcome back to Talos Principle. Last time we finished this is area 6B, and we also found like that secret room over there. By the way, is it still open? I am not sure, it might be. Looks kinda lit up there, so I'm just gonna assume it is. In any case, I can just go over there if I want to open it anyway, so let's leave. We have like one more area to do before I wanna go for like the bonus stuff in this. I wanna say... Right, I'm right about this, right? Yeah, okay, this is area 7. There seem to be like 7 areas each time. We have 4 pieces and 2 golden noodle stars, so let's get going. It's probably going to be like a reading heavy episode again. Okay, we have the eye. We have some storm clouds for once. And some dust is getting swept up here. Okay, that's definitely a new theme. Okay, first thing. Ooh. Okay, I wanna check out the desert. We'll probably just get, thrown back and I'm gonna listen to the audio. Huh. Oh, kinda hot here. Really see like how the way like the light is refracted. Can walk for quite some time. That's weird. It's also a neat obelisk, I guess. Okay, this is really unusual. Are we on the other side of that pyramid? Is that a different pyramid? Okay, I can definitely reach like an end, but we can at least make it to here about. Huh. Now I'm not sure. I mean, I kind of want to see if I can reach a pyramid. I feel like this is, to me, slightly more important than reading the audiobook at this point. Okay, this is just part of the puzzle though, right? This is really curious because like we rarely get the opportunity to really go out of bounds like for at least quite some way, because like before when we kind of broke out, like the one time it was literally breaking out of the bounds of the game. Wait, am I really allowed to go to the pyramid? That is so weird. Like genuinely, like I did not expect the game to let me. Maybe? Okay, I know it's annoying, but maybe I can even check out... Okay, I'm gonna go back. I know it's really annoying. And it annoys me, like all of the frizzling and the voice lines in the back. And like, as I mentioned, I can kind of lower the volume on your end, but I can't really change the visual artifacting, if you wanna call it that. Okay, we can at least reach the pyramid? I'm guessing we can't climb it. Yeah, it's kind of too steep. Seems like this was an entrance once before. Ooh, some text. Also a fan. Okay, you're making me really curious right now. You might be able to jump up there because there's like a fan in that direction again. Anyway, this is Ed. Ed actually reached here, okay. Another huge pyramid. What mad ambition it must have taken to build such things. It sure has. It's just a big pile of rocks. I mean, it's definitely more impressive than that. Like, don't get me wrong, it is a big pile of rocks, and pyramids are like the thing that, I guess rocks take as shape, more or less. Normally it's like more, I guess, cylindrical in a way, or like a cylindrical base, if you just stack rocks. But like building something that massive still is a masterwork of ingenuity, especially for that time back then. Anyway, can I jump on top here? You're definitely not active. Can detach you? I need something to activate you. I probably can't jump. Yeah, I can't jump like quick enough. Okay, I have to remember that. There is something there that might be able to reach the top here. Is there something? Is that just a weird rock? Something brighter. That might just be part of the rock face though. Okay. I can live with that though. And now I'm gonna check out like the other side real quick. And then we are going to do some puzzles, do some reading, one or the other. I want to say reading. It's just because I do it like every single time like that. Can I just continue? How far does this level? Okay. I guess this far does this level go? I kind of answered my own question. Huh. It's definitely interesting to see, I guess, rain clouds in an area like this. This is a rare occurrence. Like, I've been to Egypt a few times, and seeing even a regular cloud is kind of rare down there. So, like, seeing so many and then having some rain clouds. I know it's a simulation. I know, like, I am aware that rain exists out, like, in hot areas like Egypt as well. That still makes it a rarity, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. Can you go over here? This also seems kind of important. No. Okay. I'm just gonna assume that I can't reach it if it starts jittering, because, again, it annoys me too much to actually go there. I am definitely curious about, like, these ruins, because we had, like, some of those in one of the previous areas, and I wasn't actually able to find anything on them. I'm not sure if there was, like, a star on there and I just missed it, because we are still missing one in that one area. We have more statues. Also, is that a terminal? Okay, we have a secret terminal in this area, so we definitely have a lot of reading to do, and I should probably speed up my exploration here. We can obviously just continue next time. Okay, can I go into this? Okay, this is definitely too far. We're getting warp back, so I'm just gonna accept that. Okay, this is the terminal. This is a secret one. I'm gonna leave the secret one for a bit and go for the main one first. The main one should just be somewhere here. We kinda came in... Where exactly did we come in? Over there? I guess over there. Oh wait, we still have the audiobook. Let's listen to the audio first, and then I'm gonna, like, do the terminal reading. I'm not sure what you're supposed to be. Like, slightly further away, I kind of thought it was like some sort of satellite. Maybe more of a component, like an electrical component. I'm thinking like on transistor level from like size or something like that.
On the first night, when I knew it was over, I went out to look at the stars. And I thought, somewhere up there are the stations we built and the probes we sent out. Voyager 1 and 2, beyond the edge of our solar system, continuing their long journey through interstellar space, like memories of our ambition, ambassadors who have outlived their homeland. And then I thought, if they still exist, are we really gone? If machines are an extension of the human body, then so long as they continue to function, we're still here.
That's definitely a thought. First of all, she did say when she realized it was over, so I'm guessing, like, my one theory was still that there was like some disease spreading, and I'm guessing she caught it. If that's still the case, that it was over for her, like there was no saving her, like she would be dead in a few days, kind of thing. Or maybe it was more in the sense that, you know, that they're working on this project, right? Maybe it was just a thing that, like, once they decided to do that project because there was no saving it, that she thought about that. I'm not sure, like, where in the timeline it is. Like, if she was affected directly or if it was just something that, like, you know, started for everyone. Also, I think we kind of talked about, like, outliving yourself in a way. I mean, we've talked about this in different... I was just blinking. Did you just glitch while blinking? I'm just gonna talk to you in a second. I know, we can just blink at each other. How lovely. Hey. Hey, buddy. Where was I? Okay, talking about, like, I guess outliving your mortal shell. Let's put it like that. Where we had the idea of outlasting that by what we leave behind, like the things we achieved in life that maybe improved life for others in the future, hopefully. Like, this is also like the impact that you have, and people still thinking about you kind of makes you immortal in a sense. The concept of you, at least, maybe not you know, the consciousness that we are talking about oftentimes, and that you die like twice. That's the idea, basically. And with the voyage, I'm guessing I was actually right with like the probes in the beginning. I kind of thought about that they also look similar with like the Voyager. Wasn't it like, I read something about this. Isn't it like the Voyager? Wait, I hope I'm not misremembering my space probes. But the Voyager is the one they sent outside of the solar system, right? And that just recently reached a distance of around 1 light minute. If I recall correctly, I read something about that. So yeah, it's definitely outlasting us in a way. And what we created here, because like, not we, but like the humans of this world created here, definitely outlasted them quite some time. Now the question is, was it worth it in a way? Since we seem to be a consciousness of sort, like we get to experience that, I guess the work of the humans in that world was not for naught. In any case, we have a computer to talk to. And we are just getting a regular library session. Chatlog 9787, Norwegian Blue, and Osiris 21. As always, let's just go through them. Okay, between Lana 123 and Omar. So, I think, what's the point, right? Yeah, I keep thinking about my aunt. Have I told you about her? I don't think so. She's super rich. Like, she drives around in a ridiculously expensive sports car, and she goes on vacation to the Bahamas. And she has a huge house that feels more like some sort of corporate HQ than a home. She worked really hard to get all that, but she also screwed over a lot of people, including her own family. I used to be quite angry at her for what she did to my parents, but now I think, what did she get out of it? She and her husband are always fighting. Their son became so obsessed with money that he ruined his own family. I mean, yeah, they have everything that I always dreamed about, but I can't enjoy any of it. My grandfather was like that. And now, at the end, what does any of it mean? If you have all the money in the world, but you die alone and unloved, what did you accomplish? I don't get it. I just don't. I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like, I'm guessing the aunt was really rich. Scream over people. I guess it's just like something you hear every once in a while, where people talk about like how, I guess there are like two kinds of richness. It might be a weird way to say that, but like there's like being rich in the sense that you have like all the money in the world, and it's often thought that this is like kind of a hollow experience where you're rich and you're connecting with other rich people more because of the money, not because of like any real connections you share. And then you have like the other richness where you have like family, friends and all that with like loved ones that enjoy spending time with you, that help you through struggle, that don't really care about, I guess, your financial status. And while they are often, I guess, struggling in different ways, or like actually struggling is probably a way to describe it, right? Like we have difficulties in our life. It's like normal mortals who don't have like infinite amount of income. We have like our ways to struggle through life, and this is kind of a shared experience with like a lot of people in like the lower and like middle classes, for example. And there's like a sort of connection. Getting ridiculously rich doesn't really help with like those kinds of connections. Again, a lot of it is hollow. Even if you don't just mingle with like super rich people, you're probably going to feel like you're going to be used because of your financial status. Probably there's like always this thought, at least like I hear about. Like I don't know that many rich people, I have to say. So yeah. But yeah, in any case, I guess the money doesn't really do anything. Like the only thing, I think we talked about this like really early into the series, where the idea was basically, okay, what are you doing? Like imagine a world is going to end in like 1 year, you can't do anything about it. You can't really stop working, for example, right? Like you probably are not in a financial situation to just survive for 12 months. And there are also a lot of people who are looking for like the normalcy with like, for example, a job. And there are also a lot of people who work in like services where the world would kind of stop even earlier if they stopped, like thinking power plants, for example. And probably many of those people, especially again talking like more working class people who need that money, are probably willing to finish that, so others may have a decent life still for like at least the last few months. And being rich probably can get you out of that, because you probably don't have to work for those last 12 months, but it's probably going to be rather boring if you have nobody to share that time with. And if it's inevitable anyway, like money is only worth it, like it's worth anything if you spend it, basically. Otherwise it's just a funny number that goes up every once in a while. And having no one to spend it with probably is a sad way to end, I guess, or like to reach the end of your life. But yeah, like I didn't think that this was like a big realization in this text, but nice that they have like chatlogs about that. Now let's talk about the Norwegian Blue. From Rob McLean, okay. Ian mailing list again, Norwegian Blue. Hi folks, I'm sorry to say that a few hours ago I experienced the first symptom. Okay, symptoms. I'm going to work until the end of the week to make sure EL is in perfect condition, but after that I'll be going back home. I will remain reachable via email and phone for as long as possible, but I'm confident Satoko can deal with anything that comes up. If you want to do me a huge favor, spare me the drama tomorrow, okay? I love you all, but I don't have the strength for sad smiles and hugs. The best remedy for sorrow is to get the job done. And now for something completely different. Smiley face. Cheers, Rob. Link attached. That parrot sketch? Is this, I was thinking canary in the coal mines, but then they would probably not have a parrot there. I don't know, like, the first one to show death, because like canary in a coal mine, right? Like you have like these birds that are more susceptible to like different poisonous gases, for example, because of their small size, and if they fall over or like they seem alarmed, then at least the other coal miners get like kind of a warning. As an idea, I'm guessing this was like a real thing, which is why the like where the saying is coming from, and like I've definitely heard people talk about it, but I'm actually like I've never actually looked into whether this is like a real thing that happened back in the day. But yeah, like I am getting some sort of confirmation that this is actually some sort of virus that's going around, but it seems like well, how do I put it? It seems like the sickness takes some time, because they do talk about working till the end of the week. So I'm guessing like, let's say around 3 days. If you have like that kind of time to like still talk about like, you know, how it's going, and then you want to return home, I feel like it's probably a slow process. Like, okay, I'm assuming at least a few weeks until your death. That's like my guess here. Otherwise, like if you only had like less than a week, you would probably want to get your affairs in order a lot quicker. Okay, now I just thought about something else. That sounds like a weird thing to think about, I guess. But like, assuming that this is a deadly disease, what do you do with all the bodies? Like, it's going to be a more and more exponential problem, because you can't just leave like bodies laying around, but you can't just hold funerals for everyone if like everyone is going to die over like the next few months. There are just too many. There's like not enough time, but there are also not enough like morticians and stuff who would work on that. Like imagine like half of the people dying, and you have to work like, even if every single person worked on it, at some point there are going to be like more dead bodies that have to be processed than people living. And and this is like such a weird thing maybe to think about, but now I'm just realizing how much of an issue that would be in that world. Like again, you can't just have like dead bodies like laying on the streets. I guess maybe they were just, I guess, left at home, since everyone's going to die relatively soon. Maybe people weren't really thinking about that, but I cannot imagine this being like a healthy environment for all the survivors, even if it's just for a short time. I don't know. I'm just gonna not think about it unless it actually gets brought up in any of the reports here. So, how about Osiris 21? We skipped like a few again. So, hearing the call of the morning birds as they greeted the dawn, the scribe spoke. At the end of your journey, when every trial has been completed, when all the gates have opened before you and your soul has been weighed in the Tower of Anubis, your car and your bar shall be reunited, and thus you shall become an ark, and awaken in the eternal reed fields of Osiris, and there, in holy Aru, you shall begin a new life amongst the gods and other blessed spirits. And who will I be? The dying man asked. You shall be the memory of all that was, and the knowledge of the journey, and the shape of the days to come. Thus ends the tale of the dying man and the scribe. Praised be Osiris, the foremost of the Westerners, the king of eternity, the lord of everlastingness, whose car is holy, swear words DG error. Well, this is also kind of something that I... Okay, not directly, but there's a question that's asked that I think is interesting. Who will I be? And they say, okay, you're the memory of all that was. And I kind of thought about this, again, very early into the series, about how, assuming we have a soul, let's just assume that, like, whether you believe in it or not, it seems like the soul doesn't really do that much, because we do know that, like, if your brain is dying, that you're going to lose memory and also kind of lose who you are in a way. So it means even if the soul is like kind of there like as a consciousness or something like that, it's the body that seems to be really important for who you are. And in the myth here, or like the belief system, you have like the car, the barn, you had like the shadow, the soul, you had like the matter, I guess. There were like a few elements. I think there were like 5. And it seems like you only get 2 of those back. So it means 3 of those components are missing. Yeah, you're kind of... I guess you are the memory of that. Like, even imagine being like the spirit, this ghost, and getting like a copy of the memories of like a physical body. In a way, are you still yourself? Is this like kind of a Ship of Theseus kind of situation? Where like, okay, you have like those parts, right? You have like your body and your soul and you have your memories that were taken. Like in the beginning, you take everything away, put it into the journey that... then I forgot, like, your soul, I guess, does, like, all of those trials, and then everything is getting put back together? Like, is that still the same one? I would assume so, but, like, what if, in between, like, something else got, like, put in there? Would it still be the same? So, I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I feel like Ship of Theseus is definitely something that's going to come up at some point. Like, it's a classic, right? So, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I just thought about that at this point. Like, sometimes I'm just remembering stuff that I've already talked about. Okay, that's everything on here. Since it's already a reading kinda day, let's get to the other reading section. And also, is there like... There's more blue. Okay, it seems to be... Why are we at it, by the way? There's another thing that I just thought about. Like, I saw this in the recording. We have, like, the time capsules until 8, and then we have, like, 15 and 18. Like, there's quite a gap. I don't know if I'm just missing them. Like, where would I find those? Are they maybe in Area C? Or are they just skipped in general? Because, like, for example, here we have, like, progress reports, and they don't necessarily show us all of them. Which is fair enough. I'm just thinking that this is rather fascinating that those time capsules, like, that there's like this big of a gap, and then like 15 and 18, like I could see myself like missing 2. That could happen, like if they're hidden somewhere. But missing like, I guess 6 here, that's quite a number. Also there's like 1 missing in the middle here. Maybe I'm missing some, maybe I'm not, I don't know. I'm just gonna listen to that and then go over to the other terminal.
How do you solve a problem that extends beyond your own lifespan? That question may be the essence of civilization. The only answer I can find is to initiate a process, to create an environment in which the solution will occur independently of yourself. But that requires a difficult sacrifice. Letting go of your desire to bear witness, to exist at the center of the cosmos. To participate in the project of civilization is to accept death. Oh, Alex, you're such a fun person.
Oh, the most fun. But yeah, like, this kind of agrees with my theory that Elohim is kind of watching over this. This is the simulation, this is the process that was started. I still don't know how this is going to extend their lifespan. Unless, like, once we are done, basically, like, we know, okay, this AI works, let's upload the memories of, like, the people who were, like, uploaded before. Like, once you reach that point, which would be something that could be the case. But they certainly wouldn't experience it anymore, in a way. Interestingly enough, they kind of do as well. Because if we assume that we are kind of the accumulation, or, like, the sum of all of our memories, for example, and like the previous version dies and then you make like a copy of those memories, the next person is still you, but it's also not you in a way. Like, we would probably not share consciousness. Like if there was like a clone basically of myself, like we wouldn't share consciousness, but we would be the same person. Like you could make a copy of me like that's like completely perfect, and I wouldn't even know if I was the real one or like the fake one, and I still wouldn't be able to share like the consciousness, right? Like because I'm assuming that memories would just kind of continue, right? Like there's a cutoff point where like the memories get copied over, but if that's like instant, then I would just blink, and like the next moment, like my clone would also blink, and we would just both assume that we were like the true one. Did I talk about like last Thursdayism? Because I just had to think about that. Because if I haven't, this is like kind of the idea that like the entire universe, the way it is currently presented, was created like last Thursday by like some creator. And like, for example, you know, like how we have dinosaur bones and we carbon date them and stuff. Well, we wouldn't be able to see whether like the carbon atoms, the way they are currently are, were just like magically created the way they currently are, like yesterday basically. Like we could not check that. It would look the exact same for our memories. Like we cannot prove that yesterday existed. We can just prove that memories of yesterday existed basically. Like it's also reasonable to assume, like I say, like reasonable, like at least as it's not possible to disprove the idea that maybe yesterday didn't exist, and then at midnight somebody created the universe with the memories of yesterday and all the photos and all of that stuff. Like you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, and even like measuring devices wouldn't be able to tell the difference if, again, like I said, carbon dating, for example, if you create the atoms in the way that they look like they are that old. It's a possibility. Like, we wouldn't be able to check that. That's just kind of how time works. In any case, second computer. And just another list. Okay, but 3 more texts. This is going to be a long episode, but I'm fine with that, just so we are done with all the reading. A second thesis, boundary and robots. Okay. Second thesis, what's the first one though? In man, as the only rational creature on Earth, those natural predispositions which are indeed, intended, sorry it's late, thinking it's early, but still, intended for the use of his reason, should be completely developed only in the species, not in the individual. Reason in a creature is a faculty for extending the rules and purposes of the use of its powers far beyond natural instinct, and knows no limits in its design. Yet it does not act according to instinct, but requires trials, practice, and instruction, in order to progress from one degree of insight to the next. Therefore, each human would have to live excessively long in order to learn how he could make full use of his natural capacities, or if nature had given him only a short term of life, as she indeed has, so she would require a perhaps unpredictable series of generations, each passing its enlightenment to the next to finally develop her seeds in our species to the degree that she considers appropriate. And that point in time must be, at least as an idea, the goal of man's efforts, for otherwise his natural capacities would have to be regarded as largely meaningless. By Immanuel Kant. Okay, fair enough. Kant definitely wrote some texts. Okay. Let me try to pass that, because it's definitely written like one of those texts, right? Okay, first passage. I don't quite get yet. You're talking about like completely developed only in the species, not in the individual. I guess... Okay, let's leave that for now. I feel like I'm confusing myself if I read too much into that one. So, let's talk about the reason. Okay, with reason being like the ability to extend the rules and purposes of its power, okay. Fair enough. Okay, like if we are talking about like just being a creature of instinct, I'm gonna call it. Like, if we are just talking about instinct, we would basically just react to things that happen, or like get slightly driven by something that exists without really understanding why. This is kind of where instincts I guess, differ from our faculty to reason, and reason, on the other hand, is basically like trying to understand those instincts, for example, or like other happenings in the world. And it definitely is far beyond our natural instinct. Yeah, we have no limits in its design. We kind of learn more and more. And I even talked about this like 2 episodes ago or so, that even the stuff like the average person learns in their lifetime kind of increased over the years. Just because like school curriculum gets more intense every few years, just because there's more stuff that exists basically. And somehow we still managed to, graduate. I kind of said that before though. And we need trials, practice, and instruction to progress from one degree of insight to the next. Yeah, like we need to test the stuff, like if we talk about like reason, I guess it's like knowledge in a way. Like if you want to try to understand something, we have like trials, basically experiment, like we have to figure something out. We have to practice, like to really understand that it's not just a thing of like seeing it once or like making it happen once, but like trying to get it consistent. And then instruction, I guess, instructing the next generation so they don't have to do that in a way, or like at least to speed that process up, so like the next one can make more trials, like the next degree of insight, right? I can go on with like more trials and stuff, which kind of goes the same direction that like the previous audiobook went with, like the whole idea that you're doing something for the next generation, not for yourself or like for society. Like you accept your death, but we as a society, I guess, get further in a way, which may connect this to the first passage. Maybe I'm supposed to understand it like that we are talking about like we as a species, like our goal is to understand more and more, not as the individual. It's not about like one person being like having like basically omniscience, like being able to understand everything and know everything, but it's more that like as a society we come together and we at some point hope to understand everything. Maybe that's like the completely developed, basically like we as a society completely developed, I guess, all of the knowledge kind of thing. Yeah, that's maybe how I'm supposed to read that. Oh wait, the second, like the third paragraph is actually about that like a human life is short, right? Only a short term of life. To be fair, we have figured out to extend that like vastly. Like if you think about like a few hundred years or maybe 1,000 years ago, people have not like consistently lived up to 80, right? It was probably quite a rarity in the Middle Ages, or even like especially before then. Like modern medicine massively improved survival rates. Same with like industrialization, where we are just having so much excess food. That massively helped. So in a way, yeah, we did extend our lifetime, but it's still very short, like compared to like everything that could be understood. And they're talking about like how we are, I guess, passing down the enlightenment to the next generation so they can get a head start basically and continue our work. And talk about like developing seeds in our species to a degree that she considers appropriate. I'm guessing this is about the natural seeds being the ability to reason, right? It's like something that was planted in us, and like an ability that was planted in us, and it like improves constantly. And this is, I guess, the idea is that this is the final goal of life. Yeah, the goal of man's efforts. For otherwise, his natural capacities would have to be regarded as largely meaningless. Yeah, like if reason didn't have a meaning, then it would be meaningless. Yeah, that's right. Like, imagine like how we spent, or like have spent like generations upon generations. I mean, like over like millions of years, basically. Like, I guess there was like oral tradition before we had like writing and stuff. So we passed down like knowledge for so long. And it's kind of funny to think about that if there is like no goal to like human life, like no life's goal or something like that, that this is all meaningless. It's kind of funny to think about. I would not necessarily disagree that it's meaningless, but I would maybe not agree with the fact that this is the goal of life. Because again, I don't really believe in that. I just think it's like a random happenstance, and we are maybe thinking too much about it, which is also part of our capabilities when it comes to that. So that's, I guess, kind of ironic. But that doesn't stop me from reading more. So, I always see like those lights. Are those lights just like on behind like the exit one? Are those just the ones that we have not read yet? It's like if I click this one, boundaries. No, we still have like 2 of those. I think like the other terminal had like 3 lights, right? I'm not sure how those lights work. If that's even important, maybe it's just like a small decorative thing. Okay. Also, I read this last time, like, I said something like, oh yeah, we have like an archive in like 1759 CE. And then it was like, maybe it's like an error because it starts with like an F. Maybe it just stands for file, file 991. I think that's more reasonable than a weird hex code at the end. So it's just like a connection. It's not like an archive between 2 years. It's like, in this year, there's like one file that we are currently reading. I feel like this is more reasonable than my first theory. I don't know why I didn't think about that in the beginning. Well, in any case, reading. We still have some reading to do. What, said he, makes a difference between man and all the rest of the animal creation? Every beast that strays beside me has the same corporal necessities with myself. He is hungry and crops the grass. He is thirsty and drinks the stream. His thirst and hunger are appeased. He is satisfied and sleeps. He rises again and is hungry. He is again fed and is at rest. I am hungry and thirsty, like him. But when thirst and hunger cease, I am not at rest. Interesting. Also, is this a continuation from the text that we had before? I'm gonna check that after I'm done reading. Actually, we can also like make a short comment here. Yeah, like this is probably a difference that we, like, if we are comparing. Okay, I should probably phrase that slightly different. If we compare like humans to other animals, yeah, like we eat and we drink and then we sleep basically, right? Like this is a very, very basic. These are like our basic necessities. And here the belief is that animals, once they're like done eating and drinking, that they sleep because they are at rest. And there's like some truth to that. Like you're feeling secure in a way, which allows you to be at rest. But like humans, they're saying they're not at rest, probably in a sense that once we have the basic necessities done, then we still want to do stuff, basically, right? Like we want to progress our life in a way, and we have goals that we want to achieve, like overarching goals of our life, not just of the current day. And there are 2 things I want to talk about this. First of all, I don't think this idea is completely correct. I do believe that animals also have like kind of a drive to do something, like depending on the animal. I don't actually know if all animals have that, probably not. But like especially like smarter animals tend to also develop plans, I'm guessing. Maybe not plans, but they have like lives outside of like eating and drinking. They want to have their brain stimulated in a way. It's like a common thing that you especially have like animals on the level of like pets, for example. Like, yeah, you have a cat, for example. They are going to sleep, they're going to eat, they're going to drink, but like in the time between, they want to be stimulated. They just want, like, they also want to laze around, but they probably also want to like run around and do stuff. And we do kind of the same thing. It's just like more complex for us. Like we hate being bored. I think I talked about this like very briefly, that there are like these experiments, like if you're in a waiting room, there's like nothing to do, but there's like a buzzer, like if you press that one, you're getting electroshock. Like it doesn't take long before you press that, even though it hurts, because that at least stimulates the brain. And it's really fascinating. And I'm guessing they're talking about that in that sense, that we cannot be at rest. We have to do something constantly. And with like how society has like kind of shifted, it's probably getting worse, I would say. Like I say worse. Like we want to be stimulated more and more constantly. And I am quite sure that this is like a real thing that that happens, that I'm not just making that up, partially because of how I guess society is made. Like when you're going somewhere, like there are like advertisement everywhere that you can see, and we are already blending those out. There's like always more to do. And this is like a minor thing, like I'm talking about the advertisement here, but even without that, like I listen to music when I don't have anything to do. Most of the time. And just sitting in silence, on a chair, doing absolutely nothing, like staring at a wall. I could not do that for a long time. And that's not to say that this is like something that I should be able to do, but I'm guessing back in the day where you didn't have like this constant stimulation, like you couldn't just listen to music constantly during the day when like nothing was happening. I'm guessing you were more used to being bored in that sense and got through that like that. I'm not saying that you wouldn't look for something to do, but I'm guessing it was probably as like due to like societal shifts or like how technology changed us and like how everything changed around us. That's like kind of what I'm talking about, like with the societal shift. It probably has become slightly harder to just be bored, and so just being bored feels weird. That's at least how I feel. Like when I was younger, I definitely, well, I want to say like I could just sit around for a long time, but I would just daydream. And I don't think that I can necessarily do that these days to the extent that I could do that as a kid. Anyway. Also, like, this was the first thing that I want to talk about. Second thing is, I forgot who proposed this idea, but like I'm thinking about the hierarchy of needs. That's kind of also in there. Like, yeah, we have like this pyramid, like at the bottom is like basic survival, and then you have like there are like, I think there are like 5 levels. Like the first one is basically like basic survival, like have food, have drink, and then above that there's like shelter. Then there's like I guess societal fulfillment, that you have like friends and family, like security and that thing. And like it goes up to like a proper self-fulfillment at the very top, which is like a really small part. But you always need like the bottom layers to be all filled. In a way, like I'm saying fill, like you have to fulfill the needs in there, otherwise you can't really progress further up. Like for example, if you're working on a personal project, maybe you are trying to learn something, you wanna self-actualize, you're working on your PhD thesis, something grand, or maybe something small comparatively, you probably won't be able to do that while you're starving, or like don't have like shelter, don't have like a roof over your head. It's going to be really hard to really worry about like those issues. Maybe you're going to be able to do that for like a day or two, but after that, that's going to be really rough. And I was just thinking about that basically this proposes that I guess animals only have like the lowest 2 levels of that pyramid, and like everything above that is just like something human-centric. I am not sure if that's true. I'm just saying this is probably what the text kinda implies here. That you know, like only the basic needs are being met by animals, and then that's it. While we humans really want to like self-actualize by going up this pyramid and going for the other needs. Also, I'm gonna put up like the name here, because it bothers me that I can't remember the name of the pyramid. Anyway, segment 4. Then, raising his eyes to the mountain, "This," said he, "is the fatal obstacle that hinders at once the enjoyment of pleasure and the exercise of virtue. How long is it that my hopes and wishes have flown beyond this boundary of my life, which yet I never have attempted to surmount?" I feel like there's definitely a gap there. To be fair, like there's like literally another header. Okay, assuming that it's still about like the same person, talk about that. So we have the mountain, I'm guessing this is a metaphorical mountain. Is the fatal obstacle, okay, there's like something hindering you to get there. The enjoyment of pleasure and the exercise of virtue. Okay, I'm going back to the pyramid again. I'm guessing this kinda says something like, okay, there are like these life's ambitions that they want to focus on. They're like at the very top, like that's the, you know, the biggest, or like not the biggest level, but the highest level of the pyramid. And they basically have to fill like the bottom 2 or 3 levels, but there's like something blocking their way. And they do not want to, I guess, work on that, but they would have to work on that, because otherwise they cannot reach their goals that are beyond that. Like, I do not expect that they are referring to the pyramid themselves just because of, you know, the year that was made. Even though, like, when was the pyramid thought of? I, for some reason, feel like that is a semi-recent thing. But yeah, this is all I can say about that. I don't feel like there's too much deeper outside of that, unless I'm missing something. I don't know. Okay, how about the last text? The robots.txt. Maybe we're going to hear about, like, robots that we are going to be put into, like, once we are done with this simulation. There once was a robot from Spain who went a little insane. It found that its data had never left beta and needed to upgrade its brain. There once was a bot from Japan whose eyes the numbers could scan. It found that the facts required an axe and a very serious plan. There once was a brilliant AI whose circuits were built not to fry. It got caught in a loop, it got caught in a loop, it got caught in a loop. Fair enough. This seems like a very, very fun issue that you can have as a developer. That you just kinda miss a loop condition and that's it. Never leave it. Too bad. Don't forget, like, this game was made like before, like, large language models, for example, were like more in the public perception. I would say, like, it was like 2014, and like with development cycles probably started developing and writing like at like 2 years before then. Just guessing. Like, games take some time to make, especially games that are rather complex. So I'm guessing this is like just like the idea of AI back then, more than it's referring to like how AI really works these days. But then again, like, even like if somebody made like a new AI and missed like a condition at some point, because, like, don't forget, like, actual AI, like we're talking about like large language models and similar, or like things that process a lot of data and similar, they still were like programmed. It's just that certain like, how do I explain it? Like, there are no changes to the code that are being made via the AI. There's like still code running. It's just like how it processes stuff is based on the data set. So it can still happen that somebody makes like the AI, like the actual code that is working, and makes mistakes in there. So yeah. But then again, like, now I'm thinking about something else. Like, we had the other song that existed that I don't think is a real song about like how everyone's got it, which I'm assuming was actually something that exists in this world. And while this, I guess this rhyme, this poem, has like a familiar structure, I'm assuming that this is especially something about here. And maybe they were thinking about, I guess, how it would look like if people got uploaded into robots. Yeah, there's like someone in Spain, they weren't properly updated, fair enough. How do you upgrade your brain while you're using it? This is definitely a scary thought. And then we have like the bot from Japan, and we had like the whose eyes the numbers could scan. So like, you know, we technically can scan QR codes. We are doing that in the game constantly. Like, I sometimes use my phone whenever there are issues, but overall our character can do that. So we seem to be like a robot, right? I know we are still also like an AI inside of there. Like, in a simulation, we are not like a physical robot, to my understanding, or like my belief is that, at least. But now the question is, why did the facts require an X? I'm not really sure. Like, the first one is like a bit more clear. Why do you need like an X for the facts? Like, in the sense that you wanted to X the project? I hope not. You're using that project currently. But yeah, like, the last one is kind of just, I guess, funny in a way. Hopefully those circuits do not fry. I mean, we can't guarantee it, but it might happen, you know? Well, in any case, I think that's the last text we have in this area. I wanted to check out one last thing because before I end the episode. I know it's been running quite long because there was like a lot to read. Oh wait, it's the elevator. I wanted to say, like, it was kind of weird that the robots wasn't the newest text here. We had the Osiris 21, we have like Osiris 11. There's a lot missing in here. Like a lot. Also, one last thing, I want to check Osiris here. Are there notes that are missing? Because I know the other text here, Osiris 21 had like notes that we couldn't read. Wait, 21? Wait, it wasn't Osiris 21? Am I missing something? Like, if I go to the terminal, there were like notes at the bottom. Am I missing those notes? Why am I missing them in here? No, we have them here. Like, there's one. We had that one before. Why don't I have that one for like the last few texts that I had? Osiris 11? I thought there were some. Okay, now there. I guess I just clicked away too early, or maybe I clicked something wrong. I just wanted to see, like, this was Osiris 11, right? That had like those three. I wanted to say, see if the previous text, which would be Osiris 7, had like any notes that I didn't quite understand. Right, like, I expected that to be like a number, and then like maybe the number 1 or 2, and then I could have figured out what they were talking about like in the next text. But I guess they are not referring to that. Well, in any case, we are done with reading, except for all the other reading that we have, because I've seen a lot of QR codes that I ignored this episode. But I am running really long. But I still hope that you enjoyed the episode. Next time, more puzzles. In any case, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be seeing you next time. Till then, have a good one, and bye-bye.